Hey guys, Player Vex here. Today I was wanted to go over Mothman for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. So the Bestiary 3 came out recently, and in it is a lot of interesting creatures, and I just wanted to go over a couple and how I would use them, and I have used them in this case with Mothman. And so let's just jump right into it with Mothman. So the first question is, what is Mothman? Mothman is an agent of fate. As long as it has to do with destruction. Most people who encounter Mothman have memory loss of the encounter. This is evident by the spells he gets access to, such as Modify Memory or Nightmare. These things change and people forget Mothman even being encountered. Mothman is also an aberration, so he can be seen as a type of alien creature, not from this plane. So this could help drive, like, oh, where is he from and stuff. He's not from this place. So once you use Mothman, so Mothman makes a great rumor type monster, investigating a local area of rumors of people getting nightmares or large swaths of memory loss. It could lead to a cult of Mothman worshippers as doombringers or doomsayers. Another way to use Mothman is as a guardian of a forest or wildlife. He can be working with druids or protecting it as his home or forest, as long as it has to do with as some type of destruction. So maybe there's local tornadoes in the area or large swaths of thunderstorms, stuff like that. But so there's these two aspects of him. There's this nature-y type, because he has primal spells and he's a giant moth, right? And then there's the other aspect where he's removing memories and he's just there to cause chaos and destruction. So it can make a great investigation type situation where your players have to go in and find things out and try to figure out, what is this creature that's causing these problems. So if we jump right into his abilities, so Mothman, so we're just going to go down the list. Mothman has dark vision, so another great way to use him is during a night encounter. He can't speak, but he has telepathy, so he can communicate with players that way. He has a high AC but low HP. He's really good reflex saves and will saves, but bad fortitude saves. Again, this is great for against casters, because he himself is a caster. He has a really, really good fly speed, 50 feet, and with access to spells, he makes a great flyby mage to pepper the party from afar. Mothman has a few nasty effects. A strong aura gaze that takes effect at the end of the creature's turn to frighten them. So it's a 30-foot aura around him. So this is great for if anyone gets into melee with him, they can cause this frightened thing and then he can escape easily. It's also, he has a focus gaze ability, which can be used against casters that he wants to target right away to make him have an easier time against their saves, because the whole point of frightened is it lowers their saves, and that's a really important thing. He has an extremely awful melee attack. His melee is not worth using. And if he gets into melee with a creature, this is a problem for him, and he should probably spend the actions to get out of melee and not stay in melee. If he's using his melee attack, something's gone terribly wrong. As for his main shtick, he is a spellcaster. He's got some pretty strong primal spells with a high DC of 25. The main ones in combat that you should use are invisibility to escape or reposition, start of combat or before combat starts if he knows they're coming, pop invisibility, get into position with flying, and then cast his spells. Or if he needs to make an escape, cast invisibility and fly away. The next one to really use is Phantasmal Killer. Phantasmal Killer will be the spell that brings the pain. It has a high damage, and if you don't know how Phantasmal Killer works, its main effect is that if a player critically fails their save, they have to make a fortitude save, and if they fail that fortitude save, then the character dies. Like, straight up, they're just dead. They don't get another save, the character dies, 0 HP, and they're dead. It's a very nasty spell with a range of 120 feet, which, again, is going to allow him to pepper that down from a high advantage. And if the party doesn't have casters or, far-ranged cast spells, because a lot of the spells have a very limited range, or if they don't have any ranged ability characters, this encounter is going to be very, very deadly for them. Damage-wise, it does 8d6 damage on a fail, so even then, it does a lot of damage. So they're going to have a hard time dealing with this ability. And it should be the spell that you use every turn. He also has access to Daze as a 4th level cantrip to pepper, dealing about 2d6 plus 4 damage. For the most part, Phantasmal Killer is what you're going to be using, because by the time you get to the point where he's using cantrips, he's probably going to be either close to being ready to run away or dead. If I was to homebrew Mothman a little bit, I would give him a ranged attack for 1 action. That way he doesn't have this floating action. Sometimes he has to cast a spell and he doesn't really have much to do other than fly, or if he has to fly twice to get in reposition, he has this floating action that he doesn't have much to do with, because Focus Gaze, it's still only a 30-foot range. So I would give him something like a mental attack, some type of sonic damage or something, 120 feet, do 2d6 flat, and there you go. Gives him something to do with this floating action that he might have sometimes. One of Mothman's main gimmicks here, though, is his Agent of Faith. Agent of Faith is a 3-action, very strong, big attack for him. But the way it's written, Mothman can use any spell of 5th level or lower. Now, I'm going to stick to Primal because it does have the Primal tag, but the way it's written in the tag itself is that it can use any spell. Again, we'll stick to it being a Primal spell, but if worded correctly, you can just go through the book and pick any spell. As long as the spell steers fate into a disaster or memorable event. Now, this, on paper, seems like a very hard thing to do. Like, how am I supposed to know what is going to change this and do all this stuff without, like, kind of railroading and stuff? And here's a couple of ways that I think you can use it, and a couple of spells that are pretty interesting, as it's a very situational spell, but here's a couple of ideas. First one, 5th level cast of Heal on himself. If you want to talk about memorable, the party, has to refight him at full HP. They bring him down, they think that he's almost dead, and then disaster occurs where he fully heals himself. That can be a very powerful moment in combat. Another ability is Bestial Curse. It's a 4th level thing. The main gimmick here is that if they critically fail, they're permanently turned into a beast. This also could be a memorable moment where the player, complete disaster. I mean, you could lose your character right here and make this save, or be turned into this wild animal that the party has to deal with. Another thing they could use is Hydraulic Torrent, mainly to push off of cliffs or towards traps. Again, another memorable moment if this giant wave comes and pushes them off a cliff and now they have to deal with this situation. Banishment is also a great one if they're fighting on another plane, or the PCs are on a different plane of existence where a Mothman is. Banishment can make a great spell that kind of changes everything, changes the game. And last, Summon Giant. To summon a troll to fight the party would be amazing. Give Mothman some backup, and it can really change the dynamic of the fight if he casts a spell, and all of a sudden now he has to deal with this troll that's also here. All these are powerful and memorable spells. Disaster events for the party to run. So, for an encounter, very simple encounter here. When building an encounter for Mothman, you want a wide open area with lots of vertical range, so he can fly around and use his speed and range of spells to his advantage. You also want a bruiser type, something with a lot of HP and a low AC and good melee. Something with attack of opportunity is a great thing to have. So for this encounter here, I've got a crumbling enclosed monastery with a collapsed roof. Mothman has allied with creatures of the forest, maybe by manipulating their minds. Mothman is trying to cause some type of calamity in a nearby village, and the party has to stop him. Maybe he's at an altar and he's casting this ritual or something like that. For backup, I put a troll to help Mothman. Maybe it's a local one in the area that is being brainwashed. Other help can be group of wood elves or other strange beasts. Any weird aberration forest creatures like owl bears is a great thing to for him to have as allies. In combat, Mothman will start by casting invisibility if he doesn't know the party's coming. If he does, he'll have invisibility already. So allow him to fly high up into a position. Then on future turns, just blast them with Phantasmal Killer. The square in the middle of the map is a giant pit trap that the party is either going to get pushed in or can use to fight off the troll, or Mothman can use to push them into it. And it's a nice dynamic piece in the middle of the board that they have to figure out. Um, so let's see. On future turns, his turns are gonna be he's flying into position after casting Visibility. Then on next turns, he's casting Phantasmal Killer on any player who can hurt him the most. So you start with bow users, then any magic users, then melee guys. So you always want to go after the people who can actually hit him. So range characters first. If he sees a healer, if he sees someone heal someone else, then he will use them as the main target, such as a cleric. Because it's the opposite of his whole MO, which is he wants to bring disaster and destruction. And then you have this one character who is healing and bringing, goodness and healing and reconstruction. This is very counter to his nature, so he's going to focus his Phantasmal Killer on those. As combat drags on, when things are looking bad is when he'll cast Agent of Fate, so maybe 2 turns in. If he's close to dying, cast a heal spell on himself. Is the Troller melee guy dead, then he's going to cast Summon Giant. Someone's in pain, or someone is, close to, has really low saving throws, Bestial Curse. If they're next to the Pit Trap, 3 of the parties is next to the Pit Trap, Hydraulic Torrent to push them in. It's a situational spell, have 1 or 2 of these things ready just in case. If after that moment, after that spell or that ability is cast of Agent of Fate, if he's still alive, which who knows if he is, if he's still alive at that point, then he's probably going to run. 3 action fly away 150 feet and recast invisibility on the following turn. He's not dumb, he's not going to risk his life, so it's up to the party to take him down as quickly as possible, and with a full heal just in case. He got some options to run away. Last thing I want to talk about real quick is rewards. So, the party has dealt with Mothman and stuff, and what are some of the trophies and stuff that he can have, and some treasure the party can do. So some of the ideas I have as rewards is, I'd say it's something very fitting to the moth motif is large amounts of paper. So paper that has high value, maybe he eats this thing, or like cloths and stuff like that. So for high value paper, we're talking spell scrolls or a wizard's book. This could really give a nice boost in treasure to them. He might have taken a couple of bites of the book or something, but most of the pages are still usable. And you might even have so here's a good idea. So he has an old deed to a manor amongst his pile of treasure, and this could take the players to another adventure in which they have to get this deed back and get a little fortress or a little stronghold of themselves, which is a great idea after this memorable fight, and no one dies from Phantasmal Killer. Having a deed to a manor is a cool idea. And also this is a great time to introduce any type of magical fire or magical lamp, so he moth to a flame, and he keeps this there as his treasure in his hoard. So yeah, guys, that is Mothman. Really interesting character, very powerful monster to use. Phantasmal Killer is a very, very strong spell, and with his gaze and aura, it's not going to be easy to get him down, and with that fly speed, the party's really going to have to come into this thinking what to do. Again, I would use some type of bruiser to help him out. Average party level that should encounter this. For a solo monster, I would say you don't want to risk it too much. Maybe 4th level is pushing it for solo because of the high DC. If you do against a 4th level party, you're guaranteed to kill them because he is a 7th level creature. I would say you're guaranteed to kill at least 1 party member. 5th level is about where I put it. I did 5 players. I have 5 players. They fought against a Mothman and a troll on a train. And they did pretty well. It was a kind of hit or miss there for a couple seconds. The rogue was the one who was getting attacked by Phantasmal Killer, but I would say 5th or 6th level. 6th level, you kind of want to put maybe 2 big bruisers, maybe a giant of some kind, or smaller groups, large groups of smaller creatures such as elves or something like that, because he again doesn't have that high of HP. But yeah, guys, so that is the video. Comment below, let me know what you think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.